Christmas fusions can be tricky, not because the fusions themselves are any harder than other fusions throughout the year, but because those of us who celebrate have to juggle completing the fusion and doing all of the events with our holiday celebrations and responsibilities. The good news is that this year with the Lady Noelle fusion, we've got a very friendly calendar, at least if you plan properly from the outset. So in today's video, I am going to give you my no-fail fusion plan for the Lady Noelle fusion in case you are interested in going for her. I will definitely be doing that, by the way. And hopefully this will alleviate some of the stress around this fusion so that you can enjoy your holidays and still get a pretty good champion. I am Colred. This is Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. Let's get started. Just a quick reminder, I will be live streaming tomorrow, December 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want your chance for a free account takeover, you should come hang out. And as always, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and consider joining our Discord community. Now let's get back to your no-fail Christmas fusion plan. Here we are on the fusion event calendar. Now there are some special considerations for this particular fusion that are different than other fusions you may have done in the past. And I'm going to outline those as we go. I'm warning you up front because I don't want you to skip through and miss anything that might impact your chances for success. Let's start with the fact that this is a classic fusion. That means we have to collect 16 copies of this rare, level it, promote it, ascend it, get it to 40, and then fuse those copies into 4 copies of the epic, which we have to then promote, level, and ascend in order to fuse into Lady Noelle. You can't wait on this. You really need to do this as you're progressing throughout the event, because once the event is over, you lose your chance at Noelle. It's not like a fragment collector event where basically you can summon that at any time afterwards. You need to actually fuse the champion before Monday, December 30th. Now, the good news is this is a 15-day fusion. Starts on Monday, ends on Monday. The weird day of the week to start a fusion, but 15 days is pretty good. That means a couple of things. One is you're going to get more passive energy than you typically would during like a 12 or 13-day fusion. It's going to make it a little bit easier on energy. And also, there are a couple of lulls in this calendar. There's going to be some downtime, specifically some downtime around Christmas, where you can create like a nice window to just not have to worry about raid and hang out with your family instead. So we're going to talk about that as well. Let's start with what's going on today. You can see we have 3 events going on, but the Dungeon Divers event doesn't actually start until tomorrow. So I highly recommend just holding off on all of these. If you want to do the artifact enhancement event, get that out of the way. That's just silver, so go ahead and get that out of the way. If you need to spend some energy today, just because you don't want to cap out, put it into the champion training in campaign. That'll get you some silver, get some chickens set up for later training. That's fine. But don't get into Fire Knight today. Don't waste that energy in Fire Knight. I would definitely put it into campaign instead, or just like go do Sand Devil's Necropolis or Minotaur or something. Starting tomorrow, we're going to have this Dungeon Divers event. Now, remember that a dungeon tournament typically takes around 2k energy, and a Dungeon Divers event typically takes around 5k energy. So you want to embed all of that 2,000 energy from Fire Knight into the Dungeon Divers event. But there's going to be 2 different ways you can complete this Dungeon Divers event. I'm going to talk about both ways and then give you my recommendation about which one I would likely do, but you can decide on your own. So the first way is to basically do that and then put the Spider Tournament into the second half. So you do 2k here in the first half of the Spider Tournament, and you embed all 4,000 energy into the Dungeon Divers event. And then what you can decide for that extra 1,000 energy is, do you want to put it into Fire Knight Tournament because there are good drops there? Do you want to put it to Spider Tournament because you need more silver? Or maybe even put it into the campaign to complete the champion training event. That's going to take more than 1,000 energy, by the way. It's less efficient there. But you could do that as well. So you have several options for completing this first Dungeon Divers event. However, there's another option with this Spider Tournament. So let me put that back. So here, this Spider Tournament also goes into this second Dungeon Divers event. You can see it starts here. So potentially you could put the 2k into this second half of the Spider Tournament, and that would get it into the Dungeon Divers event. And I might prefer that because otherwise, the only thing going on during this Dungeon Divers event is either a champion training tournament or an Ice Golem tournament. I don't like using a lot of energy in Ice Golem when I don't need to. Like, I don't want to over farm Ice Golem. So I would rather just put the minimum 2K into Ice Golem. And that means champion training, which is pretty intense if you're doing it in campaign. You could do that, and that would certainly be fine. And then the Spider Tournament would probably go into the first Dungeon Divers. But I'm going to probably do most of this champion training tournament in the tavern. And as a result, I'm going to have a lot of energy that I need to spend to complete this Dungeon Divers event. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do that Spider Tournament here. So I'm probably going to put 3K energy into the Spider Tournament, 2K energy into the Ice Golem Tournament, and complete this Dungeon Divers event that way. That means this Spider Tournament is dead. The Summon Rush is just pulling shards. We'll talk about that. Artifact Enhancement just gets completed like instantaneously because it just takes silver. And what that means is from Thursday, December 19th until Saturday, December 21st, basically 2.5 days, you've got nothing to spend your energy on in here if you go the route that I'm probably going. So you don't want to waste your passive energy. So I'd highly recommend throwing this into Campaign or Sand Devil's Necropolis or Minotaur or Iron Twins, anywhere to just not cap out and waste resources. Simultaneously, you don't have to play much during these days, so go get your shopping done if you haven't already. You have a nice little lull here in this fusion event. Now, I want to talk about this Summon Rush event because I actually think this is the most important key to this entire fusion event calendar. And I'm going to show you why. A Summon Rush, typically this first half will take between 5 and 6 Sacreds, usually 6 Sacred Shards worth of points. Now, you can use Mystery Shards in combination, but I wouldn't recommend using Voids or Ancients or Primals because they're just not efficient in a Summon Rush. So this first half is going to take 5 or 6 Sacreds. This second half is typically going to take 5 Sacreds. Now, this second half of the Summon Rush gives you an Epic, whereas the first half only gives you a Rare. So this second half is literally worth 4 times the value of the first half. These 5 Sacreds are going to get you 4 times the value of those first 6 Sacreds. And if you complete this Summon Rush, that's going to give you an opportunity to skip 4 events later on in the fusion. And that is meaningful around the holidays, right? Having the ability to just skip some events and not have to be in the game all the time during the holidays, that's really valuable. So consider doing this Summon Rush. It's a good use of resources. It's also potentially the best way to approach your holiday if you are celebrating with family, so on and so forth. Now, this will impact how you view the champion chase later on, and the events you skip are important. And I want to point this out right now. There is still a Titan event going on for Sir Nicholas. So if you're pursuing the Sir Nicholas to pair with your Lady Noelle, you don't want to miss out on snow points accidentally. Now, I've looked into it, and these last 5 events here, these have no snow points. Whereas all of the other ones, including this Ice Golem tournament, all of these up here, these all have snow points. So you want to be aware of that. You're probably going to want to skip these events at the end, unless you know you've already got the number of snow points that you need. So, potentially, what you could do is skip 4 of these 5 events. Now, there is going to be a 2 times champion chase weekend, like the 2 times, probably Sacred Shards, 2 times Sacred Shards during this champion chase tournament. So you might want to consider that. I know we just put 11 Sacreds into the Summon Rush, so you might want to just hold on to your Sacreds, or maybe you're buying yourself a Sacred Pack for Christmas. I don't know. But consider skipping the Champion Chase tournament because it's not great value for your Sacred Shards outside of the 2 times event. If you've hoarded shards and you want to pull during the 2 times, I get it. Go ahead and do it. Enjoy your shards the way you want. But just be aware, you could skip this Champion Chase tournament once you complete the Summon Rush. I would probably recommend skipping the Champion Training and the Dragon Tournament, and then you can choose Classic Arena Takedown or Artifact Enhancement Event, or complete them both and potentially skip something up here like the Dungeon Divers or the Champion Training Tournament, as long as you have enough snow points, because obviously these are much harder to complete than the Artifact Enhancement Event and the Classic Arena Takedown. But if you do skip a bunch of these, the nice thing is that's going to really free up your holiday time in here. So Christmas Day off, the day after Christmas off, maybe Christmas Eve off, depending on which event you're skipping. So definitely consider that when you are calculating how you're going to spend your resources in the Summon Rush and in the Champion Chase. Now, if you don't have enough Sacred Shards to do the second half of the Summon Rush, then just be aware this Champion Chase can be done with other shards. Doesn't have to be Sacred Shards, and also any Fusion and Fragment champions that you have saved. So this might be something that you can pursue, but this typically also takes about 6 Sacreds worth of shards to complete, sometimes more, even sometimes 7. So just be aware it's a little bit more expensive because you have more ways of getting points, and so they elevate the point totals. The Dragon Tournament does not have a Dungeon Divers event with it. If you have to complete it, you just have to burn your 2,000 energy, and that's it. You don't have to worry about efficiency. It's literally do it whenever you have time. So you don't have to do it on Christmas or the day after. You could wait until Friday and start it then. You're going to be okay. The Classic Arena Tournament is generally pretty easy, but be aware that it goes right up until the end. So you want to make sure that you are training all of the copies of your rares and epics in this champion training event if you're doing that. So this might not be one that you want to skip simply because you're probably going to have to level up all of these champions that we're collecting. So maybe you complete that anyway. But again, that goes all the way up until the 30th. So you have several days to do that one. So you might do some extras here. You might do some extras, get an extra copy of the rare or 2, or you might just want to be careful. Like, go after everything and then wait until the very end to determine if you have the potential of skipping anything without messing up your fusion event. Okay, so that is it. That's everything that I can think of. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments below. Also, let me know, are you going for Noelle? And if you are you going to try to complete the Summon Rush and have a really calm holiday? Or are you just going to say, no, I'm going to be super efficient and go all the way down and complete all 16 rare events? Kind of curious. Okay, that is it for me today. Thanks for hanging out. I have been Colred. I will see you in another video soon.